Hello, and welcome to a brief chapter of history of the world. Sometimes it is difficult to imagine how our city was 30 years ago. Bogota. It is well known as the most important city of Colombia along the world, but we don't have much information about how the center of the city was when all the amazing buildings were created in front of the inhabitants of the epoch, and how the center of the city was before becoming the dirty and dangerous place that we find today. 50 years ago, the city was inhabited by elegant people, men that wore costumes and long coats with beautiful top hats, something that will take us to Paris or New York. On the other hand, women wore high heels and elegant garments that some of them had beautiful short hair that will also transport us to a different city in the world. But we have to take into account that the city had been growing, and by 1964 the city had 2 million inhabitants, and 50 years later the city grown around 400%. Due to the different problems that we have been facing during 50 years. In the 60s, important things happened in our city. In 1961, the former President of the United States of America visited our city bringing a program called Alliance for Progress. But after John F. Kennedy's assassination, this program was led to its end. Something remarkable from that was the beginning of what we know today as Kennedy, the old Ciudad Techo that was built in that decade. Additionally, some other important buildings and neighborhoods were built in that decade, which was Banco de Bogota building, Seguros Bolívar building, Bavaria building, and Pablo VI neighborhood. Bogota, as many cities of the world, wasn't left apart from the change that the 60s represented to the world. This decade is a very important epoch because of everything that happened. The Soviet Union starts a space race with the USA. The wall is built in Berlin. This was the official separation after the Second World War of the East and West Germany. The great Marilyn Monroe dies under strange circumstances. Cuba starts the missile crisis. John F. Kennedy is assassinated in Dallas, Texas. The United States of America sends troops to Vietnam. Mao Zedong starts the Cultural Revolution in China. The United States bombarded North Vietnam. Ernesto Che Guevara is killed in Bolivia. Martin Luther King is assassinated in the USA. Richard Nixon is the new president of the USA. Apollo 11th takes the first man to the moon. And in 1969, we have the first official musical protest against all the wrong things which were taking place in that epoch, something that changed the concept of music. Woodstock, considered as the highest and biggest rock festival ever. The concept of this music and art fair is basically a direct reaction, a musical protest, and the most important event that hippies could have ever done. This is also shown that the idea of a minority could be heard all over the world. Well, not only our capital city changed, different groups emerged, and this will modify the course of many things and unfortunately led us to different roads. Bogota is the city of all of us, and that's why, instead of hate it, we must work and do a great effort to help it, because this city has given us a lot.